Today in Flex in the City, we interview Fiona Melville, Global Head of Investment Oversight at Standard Life Aberdeen, where we learn about the importance of nurturing freedom, curiosity, and a growth mindset in order to enable people to maximize their potential, and why being a leader as a coach is important, especially during these times. All that happening right now in Flex and the City.
Hello everybody, this is Rachel Treese on Flex in the City, and today I am over in Bonnie, Scotland, and I am interviewing the wonderful Fiona Melville, who is the Global Head of Investment Oversight of Standard Life Aberdeen. Hello Fiona.
Hello Rachel, thanks for having me along, much appreciated.
You're very, very welcome. How's life in Scotland at the moment with COVID? I understand Nicola has imposed a mini lockdown.
Yes, some extra restrictions in place just now, but we all have to play our part during these times. So I think we live by those.
Absolutely right, absolutely. So the listeners would love to know a little bit about you and who you are and how you came to be doing the job that you're doing at Standard Life Aberdeen.
Okay, so I might start with my upbringing. So I was born and grew up in Edinburgh, the youngest of two girls. My dad was an engineer and business owner, and my mum was initially a secondary school teacher in business, but she actually went back to university to train as a counsellor and went on to become an addiction therapist. They had a lot to overcome, and from them I got a very strong work ethic and resilience. But also through the combination of their careers and characters, I also got a strong appreciation of being open to different ideas, to suspend my beliefs, to listen, to gather information, and to show compassion, and really to give something back. And I think from that very early times right up into the way I live my life now, as I really relate to the motto of a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. And then I also from that time discovered that I felt very at home with data, figures, analysis and numbers. So I went on to university to study maths and management studies, not really knowing what career I would go into. I ended up joining the Royal Bank of Scotland graduate scheme in their commercial banking, and I managed a banking relationship for small businesses. Quite a steep learning curve out in the road during the technology bubble, evaluating these companies taught me a lot. I loved the relationship side, but I was increasingly aware that I really wanted to get back into that analysis field. So in 2001, I joined Standard Life Investments, initially in the middle office, but moving into the front office and really building my career and expertise in investment governance and investment risk for around 10 years. And then in 2014, I really wanted to stretch my leadership. And I became very curious about other parts of the organisation and what value I could add and also learn. So I took up the opportunity to become Chief Operating Officer of HR, then moved into a strategic role in group strategy. And then at the point of merger between Standard Life and Aberdeen Asset Management, I returned back to the investment function into my current role to build and lead investment oversight.
Fantastic. So I'm very curious right now, what is it that gets you out of bed in the morning, Fiona? What motivates you and what are your core values?
So I think what motivates me is very much underpinned by my purpose, and I see that and feel that as enabling full potential for all. And that spans really across our clients and customers. So the role that I do is very much connected to that around continuous improvement, providing oversight, but also extends into the way I want to lead and show up, and grow and enable the potential of my teams. It also plays a role in terms of society and my contribution there. I do a bit of advocacy work. And in terms of values, I would say highly responsible, got a real desire to learn, so a growth mindset, respect. I want to treat people with kindness and respect. And then I would also say, and also very much connected to the role that I do, is integrity.
Absolutely. And so if you were to sort of bottom line what you really stand for as a leader, Fiona, what would you say?
I think it's being inclusive, being present, learning, constantly learning, and having humility is what I want to stand for.
And in your own career, has there been a leader in financial services or outside of financial services that has really inspired you? And maybe you could tell the listeners why.
So I'll go back to when I initially joined the investment functions in 2004, and I had the pleasure of reporting into the head of investments. Why I still go back to him is around his humility, the balance that he brought to the organisation. There was no ego or poor politics. There was just authenticity, being genuine, and just a clear interest in making us all succeed and delivering the best for our clients, and all those values and areas of strength really connected with me, and I'll taught me a huge amount at a very influential point in my career, and it still lives with me and shaped the leader that I am today.
And so what skills do you think are needed? I mean, financial services is going through a transformational time, as in many industries. What are the skills or behaviours that you think are needed by financial services leaders to make financial services a great success in the future?
Yeah, you're right. It's rapid change, and the need to flex has never been more. And I think there's skills that we need, but there's also a strong appreciation as leaders around tech, data analysis, and becoming much more integrated in that narrative. When it comes to skill, I think it's being skillful at running purpose-led and sustainable organisations. And there's a few factors in that, but the two that I'd pull out is, firstly, you need to be inclusive. And when I talk about that, I mean showing curiosity, being connected and collaborative, being human, and actually disclosing a bit about yourself to others so that they can establish those relationships and build that trust. And I think that's really critical at the moment in terms of leading remotely, which is a skill that is really exaggerated as needing to be had during this, and being adaptable to that. The second component, I think, is to really develop into having great coaching skills. So asking the questions, empowering others, being open, and this whole idea of co-creation, not just with the people you lead and your colleagues, but actually with clients who are demanding, rightly so, solutions in order to fit their needs. So I think all those sort of capabilities are required in order to drive energy, be a lot more adaptable and flexible to the change, and energise the organisation.
Absolutely. So you're really talking about being leader as coach and harnessing this great collective, be it employees, be it clients, etc. And what advice, Fiona, would you give to a young person who is just starting their career in financial services? What advice would you give them?
So when I reflect back, I think quite early on in my career, I really started to identify with who I am and who I was. And I think that's quite important as you start to go through your career, is to have that self-awareness and identity. So when do you feel at your best? what is your purpose? What's your personal brand? And own that and communicate it broadly, because don't wait for that to happen to you. Take ownership for that, and manage your career around that, and then feed it back to others, with honesty. This is how I'm feeling. This is when I feel energized. Yeah, and I just think that ownership piece and the communication of that is really important in order for you to drive the career in the direction that you want.
And you talk a lot about growth. I can really feel your passion for growth. How do you personally facilitate growth with the people around you?
So I think there's multiple factors for me. I've touched on before is around being present with people, so that they can feel that they've got the trust, that I'm listening, that I'm understanding of their point of view, that they feel they can communicate openly with me. I think just really being transparent, and also I think giving and receiving feedback regularly supports that growth mindset, and also championing their opportunities and their potential. As I've said before, mentoring is very important to me, to have people that feel that they can have that support from me.
Absolutely. And Fiona, as well as being a leader in financial services, you're also a mum of two, I understand. So my question to you is, do your kids understand what you do, Fiona?
I think they would if they were interested. So
you're telling me they're not?
I think they understand what asset management's about, and that I provide protection towards that, and enabling growth for our clients. So I think, I would say they would get it.
They have a fair understanding.
I think they've got a fair understanding.
Yeah, I think, I wrote an article once about why our kids don't want to be bankers. And I think, the industry probably has more to do to explain to lots of people, our kids, our mothers, what asset management is all about. And I think, we do a great job. Outside of financial services, tell us a little bit about outside of financial services. What do you love doing, Fiona?
So when the world wasn't quite like this, I love travelling, and have been lucky enough to travel to some really great places. I love the cultural diversity, meeting new people. I also love the sense of adventure that brings. Closer to home, I love cycling, lucky enough to live by the coast, and it's just that sense of freedom and really sort of centering myself. So mindfulness and just clearing the mind. Elsewhere, I do a lot of mentoring, both within Standard Life Aberdeen, but also outside, and advocacy work, which really comes back to my desire to help or enable that growth and potential, really just to pay it forward. I've been extremely fortunate in my career, and it's really important to me that I give something back to others and help them along the way.
So if we look at the sort of cycling and the meditation work and the travel side, I'm hearing a lot about adventure and freedom as core values that you have, and also ambiguity, which is something that is, we're living in a world of uncertainty. So what do you think financial services could learn from the perspective of adventure and freedom?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think it is that flexibility and agility we touched on earlier. We don't have the gift of being able to deliver structure all the time anymore. Times are uncertain. We need to flex our leadership styles. We need to be flexible to the requirements of our customers and clients, to regulation. So I think that's it goes back to coaching. Leaders don't have all the answers, and in order to ensure that the organisation is robust enough to navigate this change, it's about instilling that sense of adventure in all to be able to work their way through it.
Thank you so much, Fiona. I'm hearing flexible and coaching leadership style. Thank you so much for being a guest on Flex in the City. I never knew how perfect the name was. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Delighted to have taken part. Thanks, Rachel.
You just listened to Flex in the City. Catch us on our next episode.